I'm curious. I want you guys no cheating, but write down all the questions or take a look at the presentation here and call your firm after this from an unknown number, mask your number or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your score is going to be. Comment below or send us a message with what your score is, and I think it'd be very surprising to find out.
Yep. Or reach out to me and I'll secret shop them for you.
Yeah, have Adam do it.
more than
Adam and his
happy.
team are incredible.
More than happy to do it. So that's the report card.
Oh, can we go through each question real quick?
Sure.
Okay. I just think that could be beneficial.
So number one, did they answer quickly?
Oh, here we go. We'll do. You walk through it. I'm gonna call you though. It's a potential client.
Okay.
So bring ding bring ding.
Thanks for calling John Smith Law Firm. This is Adam. How can I help you?
Oh my gosh, my back hurts. There was some horrible driver who just cut me off in the middle of traffic, and I hit him. It looks like he was driving for Uber Eats.
Sorry. I'm really sorry that you're going through that. First, can I get some information from you so we can get this started?
Oh, absolutely.
Can I get your first name, last name, email address?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just goes straight into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go down the questions.
All right. So, ask the caller for their name. Ask the caller for your email. Why do you ask for the email address? So many law firms today say, well, we don't have a lot of our people don't have email addresses. Okay.
Everybody has email.
Listen, my 10-year-old has an email address. Okay. Yep. Don't tell me that people in your area don't have an email address. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, take them to Google and create a Gmail address for them on the phone.
Right.
Think, be creative, be proactive, be helpful.
I would think there's a few reasons why you want the email address. One, in case the phone number doesn't work or something happens. Two, so you can enroll them into a sequence. And three, so that you can have them sign paperwork.
There you go.
What are you going to do? Have them go into
all
your
those
firm?
Reasons, right?
Digital signatures.
You ask an email for an email address to build your list.
Right.
But all those other reasons that you get are just as pertinent. Build your list. But the first thing should be, sorry that you're going through this. Can I get your name?
That empathy.
And your phone number in case we get disconnected. You'd be blown away by the number of times I've been disconnected on an intake call and they don't have a phone number to call me back.
Wow.
Hundreds. True story. Phones go dead all the time.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, can I get your name and your phone number in case we get disconnected? Email address. Right? Just go down the line.
Wow.
Tell me what happened. Oh my gosh, I'm really sorry to hear that, but I'm really glad you called. That knocks off boxes 6 and 7 immediately. And 8.
Which are 6, 7.
Empathy and compassion. Yeah. Right?
Right.
We have expertise in this area.
Mm-hmm.
I do a whole class on unique competitive advantages. In other words, it answers the question, why should I hire you? It's not always about you and what you can do. You've got to remove yourself from that process. It's not I, me.
Mm-hmm.
It's what can we do for this person that has a problem?
Right.
That's what this class addresses.
How can we solve it better than anyone else?
Teach you the best practices and how to sign up more. Why should I do business with you?
Love that.
I have choices. We know they're calling 5 to 7 law firms or can.
Right. We were just talking about that on an episode yesterday, actually, episode of the podcast, where the weight of the decision, where does that lie, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of firm owners, especially a lot of intake teams, think the weight of the decision is on the intake team. It's not. It's on the client. It's on the potential client.
That's right.
You have to make sure that that you influence their decision.
That's right.
It's not make their decision for them.
And so many lawyers through the years, they tell me, oh, God, sales. Mm-hmm. Sales is a 4-letter word. It's really not, right? SALES. But the point is that they think it's a dirty word.
Yeah.
Sales is simply the gentle art of persuading someone to do business with you. Mm-hmm. It's not that intense. It's not that bad. If you believe in your heart and hearts, as I was talking about earlier, that you can solve this person's horrible problem, help them get on with their lives, help their families get on with their lives, you would do everything. You'd walk on hot coals to get them to sign up with you, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Then what's the problem?
I think a lot of it, too, is this world that we live in right now where ego's taken over a lot, right?
Right.
For firm owners. But I think it's a false sense of ego, right?
Right.
If you really thought you were capable, you would be chasing the leads.
Right.
You would be doing this. If you really thought you were capable and the best person to handle their case,
Yeah.
you'd be doing all those things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Very
So that's the
interesting.
thing. Sales is a dirty word to some lawyers. It's
Mhm.
unsavory for me to, it's beneath me. I mean, I know a million lawyers and, you know,
Yeah.
it's not beneath you to, if it's beneath you to help people, you should be in a different industry
Right.
because that's what we do. We solve people's problems.
Well, I always talk to firms too, and I go, well, one of my big questions, why did you start a firm? And they always go, and I've heard the occasional, oh, the money, I hear that.
Sure.
But they always go for the passion play.
Yeah.
And I find that it's interesting that the go-to phrase to say is their passion play, but it's not doesn't come across in their intake.
No, they say they want to help people.
Yeah.
That's legit. I believe that.
Yeah. But how does your firm reflect that? How does your intake team reflect that? It
No,
doesn't.
It doesn't at
Right?
all.
Yeah.
At all.
Let's check out
Yeah.
let's check out the next slide. I think we
right.
could go for the
You love this, don't you?
Oh, I love this.
So
stuff.
here, these are some of the most common misses, right? We've seen it's actually over 3,000 law firms. Most firms, again, they've scored a 30 to 40. These are the most common misses, right? They don't ask for an email address. This is an absolute no-brainer, and it's critical in the whole process.
Right.
Okay. Or they make excuses as to why they don't ask for an email address, like I was talking earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of our potentials don't have email address. That's a lot. That's not true.
Right.
99% of people have an email address. I might be high on that number, but
I don't know about that. I think just about everybody does.
right.
Unless we're talking about, Papua New Guinea or something.
Right. Like I said, my 10-year-old has an email address. He
Yeah.
has an email address.
most of the developed world.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't know their own website address. We were talking about this earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same deal, right?
Right.
Intake doesn't know the law firm's website address. They have to look it up. They Google it, right? They say, oh, just go to Google and put John Smith Esquire and we'll come up, right?
Right.
They don't offer empathy or build rapport. The number one miss is that. The
lack of building rapport.
Empathy, say you're sorry, you're glad they called. They've called the right place. It answers the question, why should I, as a potential new client, do business with you? It's a two-way street.
Right.
Right? They don't offer a unique competitive advantage. It's also, we've talked about this. They don't set an appointment. Oh, why don't you go home and think about it?
Oh, or that I have to talk with someone excuse.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I got to make you right. Set the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Move them along in the process.
And even if I deal with this with podcast guests,
Yeah.
Even if something's on the books, just to say you have it on the books, I want to give you my undivided attention.
Right.
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 Or we can throw it on. If you don't show up, you don't show up.
Right.
Right. It's there.
Right.
And when it happens, I'm going to call you 3-4 times.
Right. And get their promise that they're going to show up for the appointment. These are all things I teach in this 8-week class.
Love it.
Because you can commit to them all you want, but you need their promise.
Mm-hmm.
Promise. You promise you're going to show up tomorrow at 3 p.m.?
Yep.
And if not, you'll let me know so that Attorney Smith can help somebody else that's going through a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You see that little subtle manipulation?
It's a little bit of a guilt trip, but it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Right?
But even more importantly, you're right, it is. But even more importantly, it's our brains are wired in certain ways that when we've made a promise or a commitment, our chances of getting them to show up, even in a free environment, they improve dramatically. One of the real problems in contingency fee-based law firms is they do free appointments or consultations.
Right.
There's an extraordinarily high no-show rate in that world. There's about a 50% no-show rate.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
But if you do these little tricks and these little nuances that I teach, you'll improve your show rate dramatically. Think about text messaging. Think about text messaging.
Right.
A couple years ago, and I don't know about you, Cam, but people hate going to the dentist. They hate it.
I love the dentist.
See, I do too.
I love the dentist.
I do too.
Yeah.
It doesn't, right? Most people hate going to
normal
the dentist.
People.
So we look for every excuse under the sun to not show up for our appointments.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what changed that world and improved show rates by 50%?
Text messages?
Text messages.
Wow.
Here, I'll give you a prime example. My dentist text messages me a week out. He text messages me 3 days out. He text messaged me the day before my appointment and the day of my appointment. And this is all automated.
Well, I was going to say it's not like you're sitting there by the phone. Once they're in a system,
It's all automated.
You're fine. Yeah.
He text messages me 5 times before my appointment starting a week out. And I always show up now.
Mm-hmm.
That has turned the dental industry on its head.
Right.
And it's the same thing in legal. If you're setting an appointment for tomorrow, make sure you text them as soon as you get off the phone, confirming the appointment with a link and a link to a map to show them where your office is,
right,
and your phone number if you need to make a change. And you text them at least if the appointment's next day. Text them 2 or 3 times.
What I've always heard too is also send pictures of where to park.
Totally.
Something so simple, but
picture of your building and a place where to park,
but feels so intimate for the
Why do you do
client.
that? Why do you do that?
Make it as easy as possible. We're removing roadblocks, right?
You're removing roadblocks, and no one else does it.
Right.
I'm all about contrary.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do what the other guys are doing.
Yeah.
Don't advertise on buses if everybody else is on buses. Do something different.
Which I think is hard for firm owners too, because a lot of them are stuck in this mindset of we'll let somebody else do something, and then if it works, we'll copy them.
Yeah, they copy them,
right?
And what is it? The what is imitation is the highest form of flattery, whatever.
Yeah. But I don't see why you can't
contrary marketing and contrary strategy. And I've been doing it successfully for more than 10 years.
More importantly, it works.
100%.
I want to get to this last point because it's super interesting to me. Intake doesn't thank the prospect for calling.
And this happens 60% of the time.
Wow.
Maybe more.
It's so tiny. So small.
Thanks so much for calling. We can't wait to see you at your appointment. It's not hard to say. You'd be blown away.
Wow.
Blown away.
Well, what I'm kind of taking away from this, and obviously I haven't done your course yet, but I'm intrigued. I want to. Is really it's lack of training. They just don't know.
It's
and you
lack
don't
of
have
training,
the processes.
It's lack of coaching and regular reinforcement.
Right.
You have to. It's a process. And if you can't do it, which most lawyers and owners can't, they're horrible coaches and managers, let somebody like us take over. Right. It's the best money you'll ever spend. Let us train your intake people. Let us reinforce. We'll have office hours where we'll meet with your team. We'll I train virtual assistants for law firms for our enterprise clients.
Yeah.
They love it.
See, and that's amazing. I think it's down to investments, right? A lot of firms think that, money's the only investment you need to make, right? So they invest the money.
Right.
But I think time matters too.
Totally.
Right.
And lawyers don't have time. You should be working on the things that you were trained to do, which is work on your client's stuff, whatever that may be.
Love it.
Yep. Work on stuff that's making you money and let somebody else take over the front end of the firm.
Right.
And you'll make more money in the long run.
Be revenue focused.
And you'll be a hell of a lot happier.
Mm-hmm.
Guarantee it.
I think that also comes from having a team that you can trust.
Totally.
That you know. And you may say, some people may say they trust the team, but when it comes down to it, brass tacks, they probably don't. Right.
Right. There's too many horror stories in the business for people to be that trusting.
Yep, exactly.
So that's it, bud. And so then we break into
Q&As?
Question and answer.
Sweet.
So that is session 1.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Call Adam, set up a consult. Adam will do a secret shopper on you. But I'm curious what that small change, having that piece of paper in front of your staff week over week, what that change looks like. Super curious. I'm sure. Do you do evaluations like that?
So if I can't get law firm owners to track, it's really hard to do it.
Right.
So lesson 1 is you got to be tracking all your leads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of the takeaway from this thing is it doesn't mean anything if you don't track your leads.
Good data, right?
It's all about data.
It's all about data.
And so the takeaway for owners from this is start tracking your leads. And if you need help with that, call me.
Wonderful.
I'll give you the basics.
Well,
I'll do a Google sheet.
We'll have your info attached to this session. This was session 1 of your incredible course. I'm super excited to have you here. We don't get you in office often, but when we do, it's always a pleasure. Yeah, this is amazing. Mine. Yeah, thank you. We've got, 7 more sessions to go?
Yes, and I don't think we're going to get to them today.
7 more sessions. Not today, but I really appreciate you being here. It's taking the time to where we can go through these and we can have a clear direction for our clients who don't know this stuff exists.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and you're right. They don't know it exists. And, law firm owners, as I said, they're more than willing to spend another $100,000 a month to get more leads, but they won't spend $4,000 to improve their intake.
Right.
And the reason that they don't is because they don't know what they don't know, which is their intake is really, really bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like we used to do, so we did these 2-day marketing boot camps. I did them for 10 years. 120 of them. We'd get a room of 40 to 60 law firm owners in a room. We secret shopped everyone before they came to our event.
Wow.
And then right before lunch on day 1, I would do my session on best practices in intake and lead conversion. Right? So all of that whole thing, poking and prodding them all weekend to make a decision to commit to making change in their firm. So right before lunch, we would do a session like this, where we would do the big reveal.
All this data was using your firm
and this room. We secret shopped the whole room.
Yeah.
And then I would share not only data from the room about, hey, we secret shopped 40 firms. The average score in the room was 16%. Right?
Wow.
One firm scored 100. One firm scored 80. 10 firms scored 20. 20 firms scored 0.
You just had their names up there.
No, we don't put their name.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh.
And then on the next slide, I share comments of what we heard on particular calls. Wow. I told her that I broke my leg in a car accident. She said, which leg? Right?
Right.
I asked for the website address, and she said, just Google us. I share those. We would share like a couple pages of comments, and then I would share a page of like the all-time Hall of Fame quotes that I heard.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And then right before lunch, when we were breaking for lunch, we would give them their report card.
Oh, each one. That's amazing.
And I would say, some of you may want to wait till after lunch to look at this report card.
Because you're not going to want to eat your lunch after.
Now, I seriously, true story.
Yeah.
I've had law firm owners cry when they got the report card. I've had law firm owners call emergency meetings of their partners.
Yeah.
I've had people fired. That's not the end game. But you see all sorts of reactions.
Well, and
most of the reactions,
yeah,
when you hand them a report card with a 10 on it, the owner says, and I swear to you, they say, I figured I scored pretty low.
Well, what are you doing about it?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Right? I figured I would score like a 10 or a 20 because I do all the intakes and I'm never in the office.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if I call your law firm and no one answers and it goes directly to a voicemail, that's a 0.
0. Wow. That makes total sense.
Right? It's a 0.
Yeah. Well, when we're talking about virtual staff too, and some of our virtual staff is overseas, there are firms we have, clients that we have, they have a 24-hour answering service. And it's not a call center.
Yeah.
You're speaking with the law firm.
You are speaking
it's 24
with
hour.
the law firm.
Yep.
24/7.
7 days a week.
Amazing people that have all these skill sets to help you improve your conversion. Is that a worthwhile investment? Would you invest $2,000 a month to make an additional $200,000 a month?
Yeah.
A month?
Well, it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
I think that conversion of investment ROI is not made, right? That connection's not made. Oh, I'll increase it. Again, it's always on increasing the numbers. It's not on increasing the conversion
That's
rate.
right.
Right. So I think it's super interesting. And as we delve deeper into this series, we're really going to dig deep and find the little nuggets that are perfect to where anybody listening to this can just launch their firm or relaunch their firm with having peace of mind.
Take your firm to the whole different level.
Absolutely.
Simply by improving, by learning these techniques, letting us coach your virtual assistants to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And the question again, would you spend $2,000 a month to gain $200,000 a month in revenue for your firm? And think about what you could do with that $200,000. Pay your people better. Take out more money. Buy a new building. Improve software. Right?
Again, I think a good way to place it is we're talking about an intake snowball, right?
Totally.
I mean, you just keep going, and then it just keeps going.
It does.
Yep. You just have to get started. And thank you for helping us get started. Appreciate you, Adam.
My pleasure.
Alrighty. Thank you guys so much. That was a fantastic first